will noch sehen, wo ich hier scheren kann.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining our SAP User Group's YouTube stream. My name is Larissa Brinkmann from the SAP Global User Groups organization, and I'm your host. Our topic for today is how identity renovation will simplify user authentication at SAP Touchpoints in the future. Let me welcome our speaker. We have Cüneyt with us today, who is Director, Global Product Management for Customer Identity at SAP. He will lead us through the presentation. Let me share a few housekeeping rules. We kindly ask you to post your questions via live chat, and we will answer them at the end of the presentation. Please note that you need to be signed up on YouTube in order to post your question live. The PDF of this session will be available under the same link in the description of the video of today's session shortly after the stream is finished. With this, I wish you great interaction, and over to you, Cüneyt.
Thank you, Larissa. And hi, and welcome everyone in the call from wherever you have dialed in, so to say. My name is Cüneyt. I'm a Global Product Manager for Customer Identity Topics at SAP, Customer Identity Management. And I would like to use this slot today to inform you about an important topic which we bring out into the world, so to say, within the next few months. We are already highly working on it. And I think, and we are all together thinking that it's nice to share this with the international community here in order to also spread the word. So I'm asking everyone here in the call to maybe forward this information to the related focus group, the working group in your user groups, or the communities who are dealing with user management topics, security as well. So this is something which is, I guess, very important for everyone in future who is dealing with authorization and authentication on SAP Touchpoints and using, so to say, the famous S users, which are, so to say, in the focus here as well. So let me try to show the topic for today. Bring your own identity, powered, so to say, by identity renovation for a digital first SAP. What does that mean, so to say, from our perspective, from your perspective as a customer or partner? You all have some experiences, I guess, with connections to SAP platforms, to touchpoints like SAP for Me, like SAP Community, the learning platform, and so on. And you know, the challenges sometimes in having this so-called log-on experience with the legacy S users, P users, and whatever users you're using currently in order to dialing in and logging into this platform and using it accordingly, which could of course lead to some, let's say, minor successful experiences, and maybe also cause some nerves here and there. So we are trying to improve this tremendously in future in order to let you get a better and a, let's say, top experience throughout all these login processes, and also try to solve the one or other issue which we have, so to say, with the S users and the environment behind. Let me show you what is expecting us today. So I'm all in all counting about 25 to 30 minutes for this. On our agenda, we will start with the bring your own identity topic, so what it is, why it's needed. Then we will look over our vision and the way ahead, so the next steps, which we will, so to say, then follow on. Then number 3 is about the benefits this bring your own identity offering will bring to all sides, so to say, for customers, partners, as well as for us, of course. And then we will have the big picture. I will show you some, let's say, a map on how this will work and what is addressed, so to say, from a technical perspective. Then we will quickly look over our roadmap and see what comes next and what we have achieved so far, before we also look into our recently established feedback channel, which you can use to submit us your requirements and ideas and feedback accordingly. And then we will stop, so to say, by having the last item here with the top questions and answers. We have prepared a slide with some questions which we have received on the way currently, also from customers and partners. And we were on the way to at least answer these. I know there are a lot of other questions maybe popping up afterwards, popping up maybe in a few weeks and months. So there will be also opportunities in how to engage with us, how to reach out to us in order to let us know about your questions. Okay, let's start with the first topic here on the agenda. It's about what it is and what is the next step for the Bring Your Own Identity offering. So what's this identity renovation topic we are talking about? We were already in engagement with the German-speaking user group here and dedicated working groups already in order to let them know about this offering we will coming up, and also to get some first experiences and feedback from them. So identity renovation is, let's say, like the word renovation also expresses itself, meaning also a lot of work behind, means that we will renew the current authentication method and processes for you, customers and partners, on our, so to say, SAP Touchpoints you're using on a daily basis, and providing you at the end a state-of-the-art technology, which you can use without any interruptions, without any additional nerve-costing activities which disrupt you also in your daily business. It will definitely ease your interaction with SAP's Touchpoints and platforms, and we are sure that it will provide you a great experience along this journey, right? So in detail, and what it is about, it's about connecting your own corporate identity provider with SAP at the end. And so you are bringing, so to say, your own identity into the game, means that you will use them as well for authentication at SAP Touchpoints going forward, right? Without any doubts on S users, any lost passwords, anything else which you have in mind about which disrupted you in your daily business with SAP platforms. Yeah, and definitely it offers everyone new opportunities and advantages, not just for SAP, but also, especially also for customers and partners. Why we need this? Of course, we learned during the journeys in the last year that we need to meet customers and partners' expectations from SAP, from us, right? As a modern and safe and seamless digital experience. We, of course, need to ensure an up-to-date security on this and provide you smooth user interactions. But at the end, it's all about trust, right? And we need to build this trust, and we need to, of course, answer this trust we have gained by you over the years. Let's look about what's expected from our services or our site, and what's the current state, to better learn and to better understand what we are talking about. Many of you already maybe also see that one of the expectations are that you are working on SAP platforms and need to have a seamless access, right? Over all interactions you're doing, maybe also towards different platforms and touch points at the end. And in each of them, you need to maybe have different passwords, different users, but always, which comes also on the table, is that you need to log off your session and log into a different platform with the same user, uselessly at the end, right? So this fragmented experience is currently available, and of course leads to a negative impression of our users, of our customers and partners at the end. And it's way behind the competitors on the market, right? So we need to answer this. A second thing is that the customer identities need to be, so to say, onboarded once and used across all products and platforms at the end, right? Is this currently in place? No, and that's what I said beforehand. Some different platforms and products require you to log on again, log off, log on again, and this could cost a little bit nerves. I know. I can also feel with you, of course, and it is of course related to the complexity currently this legacy landscape has in the background. And of course, at the end, it costs a lot of time at your end, right? Because you need to log off, log on, see what's happened. Sometimes you need to keep in mind that you have different passwords. In specific cases, you maybe also forgot about the password. Then what is on the top is, okay, what needs to be done? You need to maybe tackle your super admin in your company to let you know about another password, or to reset your password or whatever. And that at the end is a long tail of let's say, useless activities. And we can, of course, answer this accordingly with the new approach. Third thing is, which is one of the most required topics to us, that customers and partners, and by the way, if I talk about customers in this session and also in the PowerPoint, it's always meant that customers and partners are, of course, in the same range, right? So in this case, customers and partners would like to manage their own users at the end, right, across all digital platforms. So they can ensure this compliance things, the legal things behind, and they want simply to be responsible for their own users at the end, right? Current state for this is we have more than, let's say, 25, 30 years old legacy S user in place, which was introduced as a support service user by SAP long time ago, and still is being used as a kind of a, let's say, user provider to our customer base and partner base, to enable them to log into SAP's platforms and Touchpoints, which is, of course, as the year-old experience says by itself, something which has risen, so to say, in the history, and also keeps many let's say, defects, as well as let's say, parts in it which could be made better, but also which could lead to, let's say, in worst case, to disconnections from the product or from the platform itself. And these all we will, of course, put into the focus when we bring out this Bring Your Own Identity service by Identity Renovation on the table. Our vision and how we want to get there, right? Our vision is that we want to provide you a seamless digital customer experience, which, so to say, ensures and safeguards that you have problemless access to all SAP Touchpoints, to all SAP products you're using currently, which require a logon by you, without any losses, without any negative effect, but of course without scaling, performance, and compliance security issues, which are, so to say, not very answered by the current S-user approach, right? So we know about this facts, and we want to go sure that this new offering will, of course, solve many of the current legacy problems the S-user management world is currently having in the back end. It will not solve every problem of it, but we are sure that we will bring out a solution which answers many of the questions which we are currently having all on our tables. Let's show you how. We have here on the left-hand side the 3 cycles, and let me maybe also start with the bottom one to explain a little bit more what is needed or what is, so to say, in the focus of it, right? Many of you, at least many of the big-sized companies, have an own IAM solution and identity and access management solution available, which they are running already in parallel, maybe to the S-user management on their side, right? This is one of the central points, which is, so to say, worth to keep in the mind. So the target of our project is that we want to harmonize and rationalize the identity and access management at SAP with the customer's IAM solution at the end. The customer is owning its own identities as well as the partner is, just to mention this again. That means with that approach, we will, of course, ensure that all parties who are willing to jump on this identity renovation train are, so to say, in the role of having the full responsibility and also accountability of their own customer-owned authentic authorizations and also identities available. This was one of the targets as well for that project to enable this, because on the market it's already available. If we think about let's say Microsoft programs, products we are using maybe across our solutions as well, it's already enabled that you dial in with your company email and you are using all the applications without any losses. That's the third point here on the right-hand side as well, the authenticate once with a seamless session. That means once you have dialed in and logged on, you can use everything at SAP side, which is, so to say, in your entitlement, and you are, so to say, accessing. And without any losses, as said, and without any negative impact here. We are currently at SAP side on the so-called SAP Customer Data Cloud, which will be switched soon to SAP Cloud Identity Management. This will, of course, provide us as well much more flexibility and also new opportunities in this area. With the effect, manual or SAP authentication processes with the S-user concept will be then reduced, of course, or we even removed. That's what I said before. Many of the problems we are currently facing with the S-user concept would be gone, because you have the authorization management and the identity management, so to say, on your own table, and you're running everything which is related to this at your side. And so you're responsible, but also you're able to react in time and in person accordingly, so we can have immediate measures when something's getting not right. How will we get there in detail? So as said, with the circles in the previous slide, we have here the seamless sessions, the cloud identity and authorizations as so to say, as topics here. In detail, it means we want to go from this fragmented interactions to an omni-channel session, which will provide you the values that you can carry out anything in your journey throughout all SAP touchpoints and platforms and products you're using without any let's say losses in security and compliances, right? And without losing time. That's the most important one when I'm talking about this. I'm a fan of keeping important time of customers and partners at their side, and don't uselessly let them, so to say, spend on useless things. From customers using different logons across SAP digital solutions to log on once, use everywhere, and That's the thing which we said authentication wants, and you use everything which you are, so to say, going ahead in order to use on your daily business without any disruptions in the processes and without any thoughts about, which user, which password is going to be used. What was that? I lost, so to say, a little bit about this in my mind. I need to go somewhere and open up an IT ticket, maybe to let this solved, so to say. The 30 years old legacy user authorizations with the scaling and compliance issues will then be integrated into your compliant IAM processes, right? And with this, you can manage your own authorizations, your authorization packages, and would also mean that you are, so to say, in accountability for the security, the compliance, how you want it, so to say, on your side and by your side, so to say. You are in the role of owning this and administrating this and also being responsible of it. So with all these facets, the identity renovation will bring us to a competitive digital engagement together, right? Coming to the benefits, and that's, I guess, one of the most important things to mention here. As said a few seconds ago, the main benefit of this would be that you, as customers and partners, would be empowered with the full control over your own user management, right? In your experiences with SAP, that would mean you have the full control over all your users, because at the end it's your identity. You are using this because you're owning this domain, right? Of your company. You're managing all these identities at the end, and the roles and the authorizations which are necessary to have all these entitlements clarified in using SAP's platforms and touchpoints. That will for sure resolve many of the key issues we have currently in place. Not every problem will be gone, so to say, and this will be something we need to maybe also keep an eye on together with you as well, in order to have this continuous improvement in place. But we are sure that we have a good offering here and on the table in order to solve many of the problems at the end, which will ease up your daily business and also not spend a lot of time on your end, and will, of course, safeguard some nerves at the end of all the users, because they will have less problems with it, right? There are some other benefits for customers and partners as well in this whole scope. Of course, it will provide you an improved security posture, means by owning this whole access management and owning all the identities you're using, you're automatically taking care of all these security things and rules and regulations which are needed to power your own IAM solution at the end. The same counts on compliance. You know best which compliance rules apply for your identity management, your access, your authorization management products as well. And you can control it by yourself in order to have this on the top as bestly secured for you. The enhanced user experience would mean that you, of course, get an easy, quick, and secure access to our SAP touchpoints you're using, with providing you, so to say, with the best productivity and the satisfaction you're expecting from us, right? You don't need to go that often to SAP support anymore because of any simple reason, like you lost your password, you don't know which user is applying, and so on. And can, of course, immediately react on things like when, let's say, for example, an employee left the company and this S user of this employee needs to be deleted. And you don't need to open up an IT support ticket to SAP to let this done. You can do that in future in a few seconds, I guess, at your side without any loss of time. The operational efficiency, of course, is something which is as well one of the major things here to mention. by streamlining identity and user management processes accordingly, which is, of course, one of the prerequisites you need to do here accordingly before you get using identity renovation. It will reduce your administrative overhead and costs. I mean, we all know time means at the end cost. And if you lose a lot of time at the end, that means you can, of course, have some measures on, let's say, saving this money you are putting on the table because of losing time for IT support tickets. And one of the things which is maybe most important here to mention is that with the Bring Your Own Identity offering, we will have a future-proven and cloud-ready identity solution for you available, which we don't have with the current S-User Management, for example. And this will be one of the major points here to mention. Here in the next slide, we have a cross overview about the advantages on both sides, right? At a glance, I don't want to go into detail here too much, not to lose too much time. Bring your own identity in comparison to the S-User Management as of today. There are many advantages we can of course mention here from user experience. Going over security, compliance, user management, the cost and operational efficiency. But one thing which I would like to mention here, maybe because I know that there were discussions in the recent days here about multi-factor authentication as well. And this point is also here mentioned under the security topic. That's something, if you decide to, so to say, jump on the identity renovation train, and with this, you would be, so to say, also in response to, let's say, switch on multi-factor authentication for all the users accordingly with all as you want at the end, and don't need necessarily a special solution to put this in place. I know that this is one of the current let's say, discussion points when we look at the S-User Management of today. And today it is like this, that multi-factor authentication is, so to say, based on users' decision. And the users can decide by themselves whether they can switch this MFA on or not. We know that there are also some, let's say, requirements from all major companies as well in general, in order to have a standard offering here, which foresees that MFA is, so to say, switched on for everyone and on their company. This is something currently we are looking into, but we cannot currently answer on when we can come up with a related answer on this one. So let me maybe also show you a little bit about a big picture here. How does that work? I mean, many of you, maybe if you are already in that role of having or being in a super admin, you know this. Many of this technic pictures are a little bit, let's say, weird, maybe for business people, but I will try to explain this a little bit in order to let you know what the problem is currently. On the left-hand side, here you see the customer with his customer identity provider, the admins accordingly who are responsible to manage all these accounts and identities centrally for the company. And on the right-hand side, you see the SAP infrastructure here, a little bit very simply, so to say, visible. And we know it's much more complicated than that, for sure. But in order to let everyone understand what we're talking, we thought it's a good way to explain this. Let me maybe switch to the left-hand side and see what the admin has, so to say, as on the table, as said, other than managing all the accounts and the identities. He always needs to also maintain the S-users for the company, right? And is related to or accountable also if something goes wrong. He needs to tackle everything which is related to changes here, to maybe also resets of ES user passwords. But many of them, and I'm sure they can sing a song if you ask them, and all these issues they are, so to say, currently working on. Then there's, of course, the employee of the company, right, who needs to get access to the systems and best and ideally seamlessly with the SSO. But at the end, it stops, so to say, when this employee wants to have access to SAP systems. This works fine for everything else in this company, but doesn't work, so to say, when this employee wants to get access, for example, at SAP for me. So there are breaks, so to say, right? The admin of the company needs to manage the accounts for SAP, and it causes maybe also a lot of let's say, incidents and support messages by employees to admins. So they're overwhelmed of being, so to say, the in between of both worlds, managing this whole approach, and need, of course, some help here. There is also a disconnect available, so to say, between this customer identity provider and the SAP world, meaning you cannot simply go to SAP Store and buy applications or programs. There is on top, so to say, more to have. You need to have specific credentials to log into these systems and get accordingly what you want. And all this is, so to say, not integrated. With this also not secure enough and also not convenient enough for every party, right? The target state here with the bring your own identity offering will, so to say, bring us the advantage that all these disconnections will disappear, right? We have the same picture here again with the company side on the left-hand side, and having enabled this bring your own identity, and so using your own identities for all your accesses, will bring you, of course, the advantages that you don't need any specific credentials anymore in order to access, for example, SAP Store or any SAP Service Portal, because everything will be managed, so to say, in your landscape, in your company's landscapes accordingly. No need for, let's say, asking SAP people about new users, new passwords, any incidents to be set up because of any really little work which needs to be done, but they cannot do by themselves, right? This will, of course, provide you, so to say, interconnected way of experience without any disruptions, without any problems you're facing currently with the S users. And with this, of course, will lead to, I guess, to a higher satisfaction in your collaborations, in your daily collaborations with SAP in future. For all the technically equipped people here in the call, there's also in the slide deck a more technical view on this with the components, so to say, in more detail. So if you are keen to learn how this will work and how it's, so to say, set up, just go there and get the information accordingly. The files will be shared with you, I guess, shortly afterwards. Coming to our roadmap. So we have a long-term roadmap currently here in place, which provides you the major points and milestones from our side. Of course, it's a draft roadmap. Currently, we are still working, as said, on that bring your own identity offering. It's not there on the table currently, but our delivery units are highly working on it, so to say, in order to bring up a testable version by, let's say, by end of Q2 this year. We had done a lot of things on the way, so to say, also in the previous quarters. We had also a working prototype of our corporate IDP scenario available, for example, and we also built up some bridges towards communities, user communities. We started with DSAG, the German-speaking user group, so to say, and its audiences accordingly to have a kind of a alignment and also exchange simply on the facets of the identity renovation topic. And we will use and also enlarge this according, and that's one of the steps today, having this also on an international basis available, because we are not, or our customer and partner community doesn't consist only with customers from Germany or partners from Germany or German-speaking area. You're all invited, of course, to collaborate with us, and also let us know if you have something in specifically to let us know, so we can align and discuss with you. With this current quarter, we have, so to say, many things also on the plate. One of the major things to mention here is that SAP Universal ID will be retired as an authentication stack. And this means that UID will not being used anymore as IDP, as an identity provider. You will need to use your S users, and IDS will apply here accordingly for authentication in future. And this is something, I guess, which will be switched on SAP Touchpoints by end of May. We will work on a prototype of authorization provisioning as well. And with this as well, at the end, by this quarter, we will have a, let's say, a product, most viable product available, which we can use and put on the table and use for tests and validations. The most important step here and milestone for ourselves is that we want to go first live with SAP as an own customer or first customer, to be migrated to this concept and to gather first impressions and feedback accordingly how it works. Before we will then go for a kind of a kickoff and beta testing pilot project in the second half of this year. Before this, we would like to align with dedicated customers and partners, which have, so to say, raised interest in order to be part of this pilot project accordingly. And here is also a remark, as you can see, if you are interested to be among the pilot customers, let us know so we can engage and discover ways on how we can put this on the table. We have currently already 10 to 15 customers who raised interest, mostly big size companies. And I would be very happy if we have also maybe some mid-sized companies here in the call, or if you know some accordingly, so we can also consider them as well in the pilot phase. The accounts selector will then also get live in Q3 this week, this year, so to say, enabling everyone to switch from the one identity to another one in the UID, so to say, in the Universal ID, to provide the opportunity, for example, for partners to select the right user for the next on behalf scenario you're using. After the pilot or the first pilots, we would like to incorporate the learnings and the enhancements to the product. And then we will define the rollout phases, customer and user groups accordingly in Q4 before we go to the migration of the first existing and net new customers and partners. And we will go for a general availability next year, 2026, with the concept, with the first customer, so to say, who will jump on the train and use this bring your own identity offering successfully. And we hope with this we will answer many of the questions and the problems we have currently facing with the legacy world as user engagement. Okay, our feedback channel, just to mention this one as well. We have recently established a continuous influence session accordingly to capture your requirements from first hand, meaning it's a session where you can, if you have any requirements, new requirements, or any new ideas for our main topics, which are, of course, this bring your own identity offering by Identity Renovation, or the S-user management as we are using currently, or the SAP Universal ID. Don't hesitate to enter this and start influencing us now. The link is here in these slides specifically. What needs to be, so to say, considered is we would like to have a detailed description of your requirement or your idea for having a better and a common understanding on the topic, which will enable us, of course, for an easier review at the end and understanding your problem and coming up with, so to say, answers and maybe next steps. All you need here is an S-user in order to participate, and the session is open to all customers and partners around the globe. So that's one of the major or most important things here also to mention. Make use of this session and let us know about your requirements and ideas, especially also in the identity renovation, so we can capture this maybe on the way already when we are currently working and developing it, right? Just maybe also one thing, the session is not, so to say, it's not a session to put any incidents or let's say support ticket-related things here in place. It's really about new requirements and ideas on our main topic. So you're more than welcome if you have something here relatedly, and let us know, other than dropping us emails or letting other people know or escalating topics, which is not very necessary if you have here a channel, a feedback channel available, which you can use to get into connection directly with us as a team. So having said this, I'm coming to the end of my presentation for today. So there is, I guess, one more slide about the top questions and answers. Maybe we can have a slide introduction into them, because these were in the interest and of all customers and partners, I guess. And we tried to gather all these major questions we have received in the recent weeks from many customers and partners about this new concept, and we would like to let you know about how this, so to say, can be answered from our side, and hopefully we so to say bring up the right answers to you accordingly. So the first question was, will it be possible to use our own corporate RTP for logins at SAP? Can we choose to log in with S users and or our corporate IDs? Or will it be with corporate ID only, right? The answer for this is, of course, let's say simple and easy. Once you have decided to jump on this Bring Your Identity principle by Identity Renovation, this is exactly this, right? You're connecting your corporate IDP to SAP's identity management framework. And then if everything works correctly, you start to use your own identities instead of the S users, right? That means, for example, if you're from Bosch, if I can take this as an example, you have the domain bosch.com. This domain will be, so to say, used as a valid entry point here as a corporate identity. And all the users you're entitling on your side, on the customer or partner side, with this authorization, will then be able to connect to SAP Touchpoints with their emails accordingly. No more use of any further specific SP, whatever users, and also no more problems with any lost passwords relatedly. The thing is that you are not, it's not mandatory to jump on identity renovation, right? You still can choose to stay with the current S-user management and wait a little bit more until maybe you have prepared yourself as well on your side and things are getting more clear to you, and continuing to use S-users as is. But then, of course, you need to accept the current known limitations we have with it. And it's not that we don't want to or we cannot invest into this S-user management anymore. We will, of course, also continue to invest in this. But I think it's no more a state-of-the-art solution in this cloud environment anymore, right? And if you want to be cloud ready, you need to also consume the most best technologies which are, so to say, on the plate. That's the one question. When will identity renovation be available for customers and partners? What are the prerequisites? So as said, we plan a better pilot project this year, in the second half of this year, maybe in steps also with some dedicated customers and partners who are willing to work as a better customer and partner to us. And with this, we hope that we will learn lots of more requirements which we need to think of in the productive world, which we need to take care of. And this is an important thing for us, at least, to optimize identity renovation to be ready at the end for the general availability next year. And I'm not talking about January or February next year. It will come next year, definitely, but currently we cannot say when. The major prerequisite here is, in general, that you bring, of course, an own IDP provider, which you most probably have already running, right? At least all mid-sized, or many of the mid-sized and all the bigger sized companies will have this, of course, currently on their plate. But having an IAM solution in addition will not bring, so to say, is not a must to bring in. It brings more possibilities and opportunities in this, but it's not a must to have an IAM solution at the end. Other prerequisites will depend definitely on your IT landscape setup and needs to be investigated specifically. Then on the right-hand side, will identity renovation lead to any modifications in the authorization system? If you opt for this, bring your own identity offering, you need, of course, to think about and setting up your own corporate identity and user management if it's not already done. I said many, let's say, mid-sized and big-sized companies already have this in place. Maybe it will be reworked again in order to have this aligned with SAP's requirements accordingly, so both sides work without any problems and losses. But that's all, so to say, what needs to be done. Of course, if you don't have this in place, that means you need to think about this structure and how you can, so to say, make use of identity renovation in future. Will new permissions, authorizations, or authorization packages be able to be added on different levels, such as enabling separation between customer and installation number, and even tenants? Yes, the tenant level authorization requirement is on our long-term, mid-term roadmap already. So that's one of the major requirements we are receiving over time, especially by big-sized companies who have, so to say, different locations, subsidiaries in place spread over the world, and need to, so to say, slice down all these authorization packages maybe on tenant level so they can deal in order to have this authorization done specifically for each subsidiary and so on. As said, this is something we will work. We are already working on, but that will need, of course, some time to be ready to be consumed. And with this, also new authorization objects then can be introduced as well. The last question here: how are permissions assigned in SAP for me users authenticating through their corporate identity provider? if you are, so to say, using the Bring Your Own Identity by Identity Renovation, everything you need to do is in your own IDP and or IAM solution at the end, right? You don't need specifically to be connected to SAP for me to so to say authorize new users or do this administrating about users anymore. It's everything on your plate. You're responsible and accountable for it in future, in your system, in your landscape, and you can do however and how you would like to have it, right, at the end. That's the most important part here. You don't need to interact with SAP anymore. For everyone who would like to stay with the S-user management approach, this would mean still using SAP for me as an entry point, and there inside there the user management tool to administrate all the users as is today. With this, I'm at the end of my presentation. Maybe also one thing to mention here before I give over to Larissa. You find here also our contact information. We have a mailbox available here, which you can use to let us know about any questions, about any special requirements you have, or also have anything unclarities in your mind which you need to be, so to say, answered by SAP directly. Drop us an email. We will take care of it in order to answer these questions accordingly. If you have also questions maybe which you could not address here in this frame of the live session today, we are happy to get your questions and mails accordingly into this mailbox, and go sure that we will answer each of them accordingly. Thanks again to listen to my presentation and also to listen in to this specific topic. And I hope I answered a lot of information lacks here on your side. As said, please also work as a kind of a viral marketer for us. It's important to let everyone know about this important project and offering. We will come up very soon, so they can also prepare themselves accordingly. With this, over to Larissa.
Thank you, Cüneyt, for your insights, for the information about this important program. We have a couple of questions in the chat. So I will read them, and if you already covered them in the presentation, then the answer will be very short, but maybe for some of the questions you might provide also the answer directly. With this, let me start with the first question. How can the authentication features be used by managed service providers to support multiple mutual customers with support in SAP for me?
That's question and a question and a question. I don't know who asked this question. It's kind of, I think it's one of the questions you need to postpone and send us in maybe into that mailbox so we can answer. Maybe it's great to have a little bit more flavor and giving us an information, background information, what you're thinking about and what was the background of that question specifically, so we can have, so to say, a thought on it and answer that. So make use to send us or drop us an email accordingly with this question, and I will look into it.
Right. There is one more question connected to this previous one, and it says to follow to the previous questions, perhaps will be addressed during presentation. What about partners, SAP and others, not in their customers' IDP?
Well, I mean, we are highly engaged as well with partner organizations. As said, also during this presentation, when I'm talking about customers, I also mean partners as well. So the thing is that partners have a specific role in here because they are doing these so-called on-behalf scenarios for customers at the end with this approach of bring your own identity and identity renovation. It will go into this direction that the companies need to think about a concept on providing identities to their partners accordingly for all these on-behalf scenarios, right? That's one of the things maybe which is also an advantage, right? You need to think about specific identity user in your company, which you can provide a partner ABC, and this can be used by this partner then specifically to do on behalf activities for your company. Let's say with SAP tickets, following up SAP tickets, or having anything else done on behalf of that company. For the current world, as is with the S user management, there will be no changes currently.
All right. Thank you for that. I hope Henry is now satisfied with the answer. And for Hendrik, please address your question to the email address that is currently mentioned on the screen. As our speaker mentioned, they would need a bit more background to this. I hope this is okay for you.
I hope we answered this question, but if not, just drop us an email in order to let us know.
Exactly. There is one more question from Henry. SAP Cloud Identity Management. How does it tie to cloud identity services?
I need a little bit more background information on this as well. So what is clearly the question here? So I guess that's also something, Henry, you need to let me know what you're really thinking about. What's the question here, right? What's the difference between the cloud identity services and management? So I didn't get the question, to be honest. So that's something I guess we need to tackle offline. If I could ask you to drop me an email accordingly here, I'm happy to answer.
All right, so the same suggestion for Henry. The next question is, what will happen to the technical S users? Can they still be used from focused run?
As far as I know, there would be no change, but I will take that with me to clarify maybe if you have also this person who asked the question available here on the chat. I would be happy to get this information as well so we can answer this accordingly after I've consulted my technical experts.
All right, so then it's a specific ask to Hendrik to connect with Cüneyt via email address. And the same goes to Henry, who part of the question was answered, but for the second part, please connect.
Yeah.
So the last question in the chat is, what will happen with the SAP Universal ID?
Okay, as said, it will still be there. It will not disappear, right? It will be removed as an authentication step, right? It will be no more used after end of May, I guess, as IDP, right, for all IDP scenarios. But Universal ID will stay and will be used like a wallet to handle all your users you're using or you're having spread over different scenarios and platforms. But it will be not more effective as an IDP. So with UID, you will be not available to log on somewhere, right? That's the answer to that question. But it will work until end of May.
Okay, I hope this answers the question. Just post in the email address to connect for more details. And we are bit over the time, and I can't see more questions in the chat. As I've already mentioned, we will upload PDF to the description of this video, and the video will be available as a replay. So as Cüneyt mentioned, to spread the word, you might also just forward the link to this replay to any further contacts. With this, thank you very much. Thank you, Cüneyt, for being our speaker today. Thank you to our participants for being so active. Please stay tuned with us. There will be more sessions coming up, and I will be very happy to welcome in one of our upcoming sessions. With this, thank you very much, and bye-bye.
Bye-bye also from my side. Thank you. Bye-bye.